lovelies, Donderella here, and I'm using self-care to rewrite my self-love story. I am on a self-care and self-rescue mission, and part of that rescuing myself was finally buying my own home, buying my first house. I am a new first-time home buyer. I'm a single mom. He's a college kid, but still, it's been a challenging journey, but I did it with the help of God and NACA. So this is my NACA review. I'm going to get straight into it. Let me pull up this timeline. I had a little bit of background coming into it because I am a licensed real estate agent, even though I'm not currently practicing. And my best friend bought her home through NACA several years ago. So I kind of had a little inside scoop. I will say that while you are going through the process, your counselor initially is not going to be where you get all of your questions answered and all of your information. It's going to be the NACA forum and the NACA Facebook page and other people just going back and forth, helping each other out through the process because the counselors are super busy and overwhelmed and just not able to interface with you in between the appointments. So you'll see on my timeline like different appointments, and those were pretty much the times that I talked to my counselor initially. So this is my timeline. I'm just going to go over a few bullet points and then put your questions in the comments and I will get to them. My sister is currently, after a terrible experience buying with Open Door, my sister is now having to start the process all over again. More on that in a whole separate thing because this is positive with NACA. But she is now going through the NACA process herself. So I am trying to help her stay on top and just be as efficient through the process as possible. So I'm sharing emails and templates and folders and things like that with her. So I have all that stuff available. If you would like, just reach out and I will be happy to share it with you as well. So technically, August 18th, 2020 is when I got started, but I missed my Homebuyer webinar. It's the initial mandatory first step to getting started with NACA. And when you miss appointments, it can set you back months. I went out of town for my sister's birthday, Team Leo, had a blast, but then the next available Homebuyer webinar was not until November 21st. So technically, I got started with NACA on November 21st, 2020. So they schedule your initial intake meeting from the Homebuyer webinar. Once they see you've completed that, you get your NACA ID number, and then you're able to schedule your initial intake. I had a few glitches with that. I think that they had just started doing the completely online process. So there were a few glitches with getting my initial intake scheduled. And then when that time came, February 2nd, nothing. I got no call, I got no email. I panicked and I called and emailed everyone. I was a little bit of a Karen, which I can be when there's no communication, not in a rude way, just in a lengthy email to the manager type of way. And ended up getting reassigned to a less busy counselor in Augusta. So my initial counselor had left NACA and my reassignment was still in training and wasn't going to be able to get to me anytime soon. So I got an appointment February 11th with a counselor 2 hours away from me. So no big deal. You don't have any in-person interaction with your counselor. So that was fine. When we had that meeting on February 11th, she determined that my case would be stronger if I had 2 years on my job. And when I say that, NACA only requires 2 years in the same industry, 1 year on your job. But I had just renewed my lease and had time. So there was no rush. We just decided it would just look better and be easier to get qualified without conditions or delay. If, I had that, why not? If the time was going to pass anyway. So we scheduled our follow-up for July 22nd after my 2-year job anniversary, and she submitted my file for qualification. So August 12th, I started to panic a little bit because there were conditions with my qualification. And one of them was that my leasing office did not complete the rental verification digitally. It is anything that you don't have control over, that you need someone else to complete, always a headache. But if you can try to be on top of them, be proactive, and know that that is a step that's coming up and that they should look out for that, it can only help you, because it did delay and hinder me a little bit. In the long run, everything worked out exactly as it should have, and as things always do. But at the time, I was freaking out again. So August 16th, I got a notification of a new counselor out of the blue. I didn't request it, but apparently my second counselor quit and was no longer with NACA. My third counselor, highlighted in green, Sandra G. out of Augusta, Georgia, was a godsend. She was super. I don't know if it was the stage I was at in the process or what, but she was super attentive, super responsive. She emailed me the next day. We submitted my file for qualification, and in anticipation of receiving a qualified status, I attended the 2 required hand webinars. And then on August 19th, received my qualified status and got my qualification letter. I got the invitation to attend the required purchase webinar, and I was able to officially make offers on homes. So the very next day, I emailed a request for a NACA in-house agent. I believe it is super important, if you're going through the NACA program, to get a NACA in-house agent. It just makes more sense. They know how to use the system. They understand NACA. You're already going to have a little bit of a hard time with the listing agents and the sellers not knowing what's up. So it's better if you have somebody that's on your side that knows what's up. So on the 24th, I got notice of my agent assignment. Miss Shanika B. out of the Atlanta NACA office, amazing, another godsend, talked me off of the ledge, and she was incredible and has been with NACA a long time. I mean, just the best. August 25th, the next day, we spoke like that same day she was assigned to me. We met like the next day. She was always available to go out and see houses, and just like a real estate superhero. That's literally what I was calling her. I got an offer accepted on August 27th. Now, I was searching. I made a job out of searching, and I was using Redfin. I'm a former Redfin real estate agent, and I know they have the best home search engine. You'll get notifications of new listings on Redfin about 2 hours before anywhere else. So I was using Redfin for the search, and then I was using Open Door before I signed with Ms. Shanika. I was using Open Door to get into the houses same day. As soon as they would get listed, I would schedule a meeting with a showing with Open Door and be in the house that same evening, because homes were going within days, and definitely within a week. Homes were just and getting multiple offers, and they probably still are. Hopefully it slowed down a little bit at this time, but it was crazy. So you had to be on top of things. And I had an agent that was on top of things. So my offer was accepted on a home August 27th, 2021. And I had the inspection scheduled that next day. That's another thing with NACA. In order to have a competitive contract, you're going to need to have at listing or above a good amount of earnest money, a short due diligence, a 30-day close or thereabout. So that's what we did. And the inspection, my agent gave me a list of NACA certified inspectors. And this is when we put in the offer. I started calling them just to see if they were going to be available that next day, and got an inspection done. And then on August 30th, terminated the contract due to the inspection. So the inspection taught me, besides bats in the attic, the inspection taught me what to look for in the home search moving forward. So I lost about $350, but it was worth it in what it showed me, in how it showed me what to look for moving forward in my search, because I knew I did not want any repairs, if possible, because of the amount of time that adds to the process, having to interface with the hand department, having to schedule and get contractors and NACA certified contractors. And I was just like, I can't do that. It's either going to have to be a new build, which I didn't want to do, only because at my price point, it was going to be a townhouse. And for me personally, I felt like that was too close to apartment living, which I was looking forward to getting away from. And even though my little doggy passed away during my process, I wanted to get a yard and all that, and a ranch and all those things for him. So he had been a part of the process as well. So I just didn't want a townhome and stairs and things like that to deal with. So, but that inspection gave me a lot of insight. So even though we terminated the contract on August 30th, on September 1st, I just gave my 60-day notice, because based on the timing and based on my penalty that I had to pay, I did not want to extend it beyond that. So I gave 60-day notice, even though I did not have a house at this point. But, and then September was definitely the most stressful month of the process. It was the search process. I was putting out offer after offer, getting offer after offer rejected, falling in love with houses, getting my heart ripped out when the offer was accepted by somebody else. And at some point, therapy sessions and conversations with my realtor, and several breakdowns and tears and all that, I ended up changing my search to only my ideal. My initial search started off at a certain price point, and then 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. But my ideal was 4 bedrooms and 2.5 baths. So I changed my search to that at the minimum, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and I increased my price point, and that became necessary, which in the end is fine. But it got me out of that. It thinned the herd, because the homes at the price point that I was at before, it was just crazy. So just to get out of it just a little bit, if you have to, if you can comfortably increase your price point, do so. And so I just started just praying and feeling like everything else that had fallen through had somehow worked out in my favor. And I just got this new confidence and just peace that I wasn't going to stress about it. After I reached my maximum amount of stress, I was just like, okay, all right, no more stress. I'm just going to pray and it's going to all work out. So all that to say, on the 26th of September is the day that I found my house in a search. But at the time I didn't, I was like, okay. But I had, you can have 2 open offers out. So I had 2 offers out at the time, and, my house was now on the radar and on the list. The list was long and ever changing. So I got another offer accepted on the 27th. This house was in a flood zone and had a 90 or 95% chance of flooding in the next 30 years. It had a high percentage, a high possibility and then every 5 years it increased like exponentially. So it was like clearly in like a flood zone. It had mandatory insurance and high property taxes. So I was just kind of like, okay, I'm not gonna go through with that one. So all that to say, let's skip down to the 29th of when I went binding on my house. I had made preliminary calls to inspectors because I had a good feeling. I had a short expiration on the offer. I knew I was going to hear something back. We had a competitive offer, 4,300 over list with 4,300 as the earnest money. And then if it didn't appraise, me paying 4,300 in the difference between the appraisal and the amount he financed, or, you know, I mean, they'll only finance what it appraises for. So I was going to pay the 4,300 out of pocket in the case that the home did not appraise for my purchase price. So I had the inspection for the very next day. My home was built from the foundation up, brand new. So I said prayers and sometime between the 28th and the 29th, came and saged around the perimeter, around the outside, and just like my agent, when we came to see the house on the 28th, walked outside and let me walk around and pray and just, you know, do my little Geechee girl thing. And I had to sage the outside and feel like I was, you know, this is mine. I had to claim it and ward away everybody else's energy. Like, this is my house, so y'all might as well just stay away. So she called the listing agent, and they had one other offer. They had one other offer on the table, and it was due to expire soon. So I knew that my offer was going to be accepted, because I knew that if they hadn't accepted the other offer, it must not have been as strong as mine. It must not have been at least listing price if they were still debating it and hadn't accepted it right away to the point that it was about to expire and they were allowing us to view the house and entertaining other offers. So I had made that preliminary call to inspectors and got the inspector that I really wanted, the first one that was on the list last time that wasn't available, and paid my earnest money on September 30th. So October 21st was the month of financial qualification. This was the last hurdle and hump, and this was October 1st through the 4th was going back and forth on the property taxes and the settlement statement, kind of that last really stressor. But at this point, I had already just given it to God and was just like, she's gonna work it out because she has worked everything else out, and this is gonna happen at this point. Like, this, it's my house. Like, I don't know what else to say. So it ended up working out. There was constant document submissions, updates, and communication with my counselor, Miss Sandra G out of Augusta. Just was super, we were emailing back and forth because this is the stage where everything is on a timeline, and documents, the dates documents are received can delay your process and your closing, you know, by a day, by 2 days, and it just, you know, drags on from there. So since I did not need any repairs on my inspection, which is the way I planned it by picking my house in particular, I got hand clearance on October 1st. October 6th, I had another follow-up meeting with my counselor, and these are meetings when they are submitting you for credit approval. So this is like the final step to schedule your closing. And conditions are coming back, and some of them are in your control and some of them have absolutely nothing to do with you. So for example, one of the conditions was the appraisal, which I got on October 12th, appraised for over my purchase price. I was super excited. Yay, did not have to pay that $4,300 out of pocket difference. So I was going to get my earnest money back. Super excited about that, or it was going to, you know, count towards my closing costs, which with NACA, you don't have closing costs, but there are some costs associated with closing, if you get what I'm saying. So like you pay the taxes for the first year, I think prorated or something like that, or you pay, there's some stuff you pay. So let's see, on October 13th, my counselor was on vacation, but being the amazing NACA counselor that she is, she had left a coworker in charge of my file and got him up to speed on everything. And he submitted me for credit access.